Welcome back, League fans, to our final game of the day. We're going to be wrapping things up here with Week 2 of Academy League with a showdown between Golden Guardians and FlyQuest. And Golden Guardians have to be coming into this match in good spirits, hot off their first win last night.
Yeah, and while the victory was ranked over the lower-ranked CLG Academy, they did have a close match earlier last week against C9, so this game will go a long way in determining the actual relative power of this team. There's a bit of a civil war going on in this matchup, though, as the college champion runner-ups Potluck and Bob Chin will be going up against former University of Toronto teammates in Airy and JJ.
That makes it kind of a bittersweet victory, you know, then, for any of those players to win, beating the guys that they used to play with all the time. But FlyQuest will certainly look to hold their position in the top half of the standings here today.
Yeah, FlyQuest is off to a good start, but they're already having to make roster changes. Fly is still not eligible to play for the main team, so that LCS roster will be taking Keen for the second weekend in a row, and the Academy team has brought in Wolf to take his place. He's been a long-time challenger mid laner, but was passed over on an Academy roster spot until now, so good performances here while he subs in will show if he deserves additional consideration going forwards as an Academy-level mid laner.
It's his chance to prove himself. Let's see what he's got. Let's go ahead and check out the starting lineups, though. On the blue side, it's the Golden Guardians with Jenkins in the top lane, Potluck in the jungle, Bob Chin mid, Jurassic bottom, and support Xpecial.
And over on the red side, it's FlyQuest Academy. In the top lane, No, Jungle, Shrimp. In the mid lane for the first time, Wolf. And in the bot lane, like we said, Airy and JJ.
Now, the past couple of games that we've had, Mark, games number 2 and 3, were very decisive. They were very swift. Once a team got a lead, that team just ran over the rest of the game. Do you think we're going to get that out of this game as well? Or are these teams a bit more evenly matched?
I think they're a little more evenly matched, as well as I don't really think either team plays with that kind of explosive style where, you know, Team Liquid Academy has Yasuo up in the top side looking to snowball the game, and C9 Academy is this team that's built to scrim against their main team roster, so they're obviously very competent. FlyQuest, when they had Keen, I would say that this was a very dominant mid-jungle duo, though they did have one game that they lost for some reason. But this is a roster that should put up really strong performances, but now you have Wolf coming in. He hasn't played much with this roster, and so you can expect a bit of a step down from what we were seeing last week.
Which is something to keep your eye on because, like you said, Wolf, he's a guy, he was passed over for these Academy rosters. He has been a top-tier challenger player for a while. So maybe if you come in here, smash some dudes, end up getting yourself a good reputation for being like, hey, this guy's really good. Maybe this is your opportunity to build more of a name for yourself, compete more in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's the kind of thing where he had been in Challenger for a while. He was the best option of some people. But with the Academy rosters not really fighting to get into the LCS, immediate performance wasn't the tantamount thing that you judge talent on. And so someone like Palafox is this high-rated player, but it's never really played Challenger, is now, as an unknown quantity, valued a little bit more than someone like Wolf, who a lot of people think they know.
Well, let's see how they decide to go about it. Final time of the day, we're jumping into Champion Select. Zoe, GP, banned out by FlyQuest. Golden Guardians deciding that they want Azir and Kog'Maw, those hyper carries, out of the equation.
Get this scaling out of here. Let's get some early game bloodbaths.
Everybody play a Nunu.
That's not really a bloodbath champion.
It's a blood boil champion. That's half the words. It's close enough.
No. We're on 8.1. I do not want to see him at all until we're on 8.2.
I ban him every game, dude. I still haven't seen him in a single game.
Yeah, I hope pro teams do the same, dude. I don't want to watch Nunu.
Well, we're going to ban away another cold-themed champion instead. Braum taken out of there by Golden Guardians. FlyQuest, you got one more, and it's going to be Ornn, as now it's up to Golden Guardians to pick who they want first. And the bench looks surprisingly empty. The Kinch, he's unleashed again.
Bring him on in.
All right, we got him back. We opened up the day with the Kinch. We're going to close the day with the Kinch.
So, not the highest priority champion, generally speaking. So things like Ezreal are still on the table. Also does decent into Tahm Kench because he's less of a, chain CC burst, much more poke focus, which is pretty good into Tahm Kench. See if FlyQuest want to grab that. Instead, they're going to go Zac right away.
We've seen a couple Zac bans so far from the other games. So.
His priority is something that I think is a little bit in flux right now, because in some games where we've seen Jarvan, Sejuani, and Zac up, some teams have prioritized picking Zac. The FlyQuest main roster did that, as well as some people banning it before banning Jarvan and Sejuani. So, Zac is someone that we're going to have to track, but is still definitely one of the top-tier junglers.
Track the Zac. Let's kind of just keep an eye on him as this game goes on, see what they do with it. Varus going to be locked in by FlyQuest. That Ezreal that you mentioned is up. Many AD carry options, every AD carry option except Kog'Maw is up. But they decided they wanted to go with the Varus.
Yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about that. It is a strong champion, like I said. I understand, You can build a lot of things with it. It has good setup. It's a bit of an all-round champion. But there's other things that do that as well and scale better. Like you look at Xayah as a champion sometimes people go for that is somewhat similar. Vars is a little stronger in lane, so maybe that's why they're prioritizing it. We'll have to see if FlyQuest have a team comp in mind for why they don't want to go with one of the better scaling carries.
Well, Golden Guardians will hit up that tier list for their jungle pick, going for the Jarvan. Highly contested, highly effective. No reason not to. Also grabbing themselves the Malzahar. Very similar story for the mid lane.
Yep, one of the best mid-jungle duos in terms of just skirmishing and lockdown potential. Very hard to outfight these guys at level 6. We'll see. Peckenwolf was known as a Corki player, someone who plays a ton of that champion. We saw it twice today already. Could be the 3rd time into Malzahar.
Let's see, Peckenwolf, what's it going to be? If they don't pick the mid lane here, there is the opportunity for it to get pinched.
And we see a Rise.
Okay, they're just going for the classic, one of those top 3.
Rise is a champion that, I think in the LPL, and I believe a couple times in the LCK, has made its way up to the top lane. So you have to leave that flex possibility in there, but all things considered, most likely going to Peckenwolf, who has played that a little bit as well.
All right, let's check out what the bans do in the second part then. Ezreal will be taken off the table. FlyQuest is saying, hey, we got our 80 carry. You don't have your 80 carry. So we're just going to go ahead and get some of these guys out of the pool.
Yeah, what those bans do. That's
what do those bans do?
What those bans do, though.
Let's see what GG's bans do as they have their last 2 to make still. Janna going to be removed here, so they don't want some of that peeling capability. None of that safety, none of that shielding, that disengage. They want that out of it.
Yeah, and something that makes sense. Tahm Kench doesn't want to deal with getting bullied out of lane. We said the Ezreal would have been good for that as well, but they didn't want that, so FlyQuest will be banning out 80 carries. Tristana gone, joining that Kog'Maw and Ezreal on the ban list. But like we said, still plenty of 80 carries left up. You can go for the Xayah, go for Caitlyn we've even seen. So there's plenty of options left. And a lot of them do combo all right with Tahm Kench. You probably don't want to see the Caitlyn with it.
Yeah. So the final ban coming out from Golden Guardians, they're also going to do 2 bans towards the same role. Targeting support, obviously. Taric, the one that they don't want to deal with because, I mean, nothing worse than getting a nice Jarvan ultimate, big initiation, everybody's stuck in the crater. Ah, they're all invulnerable. Okay.
Yeah, big shiny crater of Starlight champion. So yeah, they take that one out. Alistar will be the pick. We've seen some very impressive performances early on. Zeyzal was crushing with it. Hope to see some equally as powerful map play here for JJ.
Plus, when you combine that with the Varus, I mean, you've got a very effective CC chain. He goes in with the Headbutt Pulverize. You follow it up with the Chain of Corruption. That's
yeah, there's one thing FlyQuest have plenty of right now. It's CC. Zach brings a ton as well. Rise brings a good amount, so you can expect to see a lot of that. Kalista is one that somehow we completely forgot about. Still up. Just assume if it hasn't been banned or taken yet that it's disappeared. Yeah, I don't know where it went, but there it is. Works all right with Tahm Kench. Not quite as powerful as a target to throw in. Obviously, Alistar works really well with that, but
Kench can still be annoying. You throw him in there, he starts licking people, gets an offensive devour.
Yeah, it's very powerful, and especially if you start it out with a licker too. Get the 3rd one even easier. So we'll have to see if that's what they go for. Kind of hard to kill an Alistar. And then we'll see the final pick for Golden Guardians being the Kennen top.
Kennen top, all right. Blind Kennen top. I remember back when we first changed to Runes Reforged, Zyrene was talking a lot about how he thought Kennen top was going to be a big thing.
I remember
because of Summoner Spellbook and Ignite. You just take Ignite at the start and bully the guy early on with AD, and then you switch out later.
The other thing he liked talking about was how it's adaptive. A lot of the stats benefits that you get for some of the rune choices. So you can start with, Doran's Blade, get the AD adaptive bonus, and then as you start building your Proto Belt and other AP items, it flips over to that. And you don't really lose anything for indexing in the old rune system where you had to pick AD or AP.
Yeah, your build shifts with you as your focus changes, and then as your focus changes, the summoner spells can change as well. We'll see if that's the approach he goes for, if he does something else. But the pick into him, the Urgot.
The Urgot.
All right, cue that hardcore industrial music that played in the client when they first introduced Urgot. That was one of my favorite parts about the introduction to him was the industrial music login screen. Because so many of the music things in League of Legends, it's like these cool fantasy pieces, and you had this hardcore industrial thing, like Urgot's into some real heavy metal. I love it.
The thing that surprised me the most was when I saw his ultimate, I was like, that's in this game?
Yeah.
That's brutal.
The Urgot ultimate seems like something straight out of Doom.
Yeah. So we'll have to see if he can kill that little rodent Kennen with it.
Yeah. It's like a hamster stuck in a tractor. Yeah, it's pretty brutal up there in top lane.
Yeah. there's probably a lot of setup that can go into it as well. Wolf with the Rise can roam up there to try and get involved. I think it's the kind of thing where Kennen probably has a lot of advantages in that matchup early on. You can push probably with the knee shotguns that the Urgot has, but Kennen has the range advantage with the auto attacks. I assume we'll be putting some points in W to make sure that harass is very powerful. I'll be really interested to see how that matchup goes because I'm not 100% sure. Mid lane, like we were talking about, you do have all that gank potential available. So Wolf, though he might want to get up to that top side, will struggle to do so if Golden Guardians are targeting that mid lane.
All right, last game of the day, Mark. We got to go out with a bang. Hopefully we get to see some cool stuff from these teams. The Urgot's locked in. You've got the Kennen locked in there in the top two. So if nothing else, the top lane should be fun to watch here. I really want to see this Urgot do some work, though. Whenever you see a pick that's unique like this, I always ask myself, why? Why in this game is this champion picked up, and are we going to see that plan come to fruition? So hopefully we get to see kind of where that all makes sense and how it comes together. It's like, oh, that's why they picked the Urgot.
Yeah, well, we will see, hopefully. Kennen is notoriously good. We've seen Invade actually coming in from Golden Guardians, trying to force Shrimp, off that buff.
Not gonna force it away today. Shrimp will still collect that for himself, go on to his farming. I like the idea, though. I like the ambition coming out from the Golden Guardians bottom lane, trying to get in there and make something happen, even at level 1, as they will just zone their opponents away.
And JJ, Unseal Spellbook Alistar, not a surprise. Smite, very much a surprise. I thought I saw 2 on the blue buff, so I was trying to figure out where
that
it
was really strange. I was in the same boat. I was like, wait a second, Jarvan's not here.
Yeah, so then I realized JJ has Smite, trying to catapult the Zac along his early path, but will come at the cost of some laning. We'll see if Tom Kench can actually punish that.
Plus, I mean, for JJ, it allows you to not only speed up how fast you take the buff, but you soak a couple of hits, use the Smite for the heal. It saves Zac even more health. Really, really clean way to leash, honestly, as long as, like you said, you don't mind losing some of that laning power. But right now, these guys seem pretty content just hanging back. I mean, they're going to be forced under the turret, but that's not that big of a deal. I honestly didn't know that Robot Urgot had a chroma, though. He looks pretty cool in purple.
I had no idea either.
That's a pretty cool chroma. I like that one. But Dr. Kennen doing his best up there to deal with that. You can see a CS lead for the Urgot early on. Both of these two starting off with the Dorian Shield, which I like considering it's ranged auto attacker versus ranged auto attacker. You know that's going to be an ever-present thing. So itemizing for that defensively and respecting the opponent, I like to see it.
And here we see a little bit of a jungle skirmish that's going to break out.
Oh, Shrimp's going to smack him against that frog. Potluck tries to get himself out, but Shrimp's got the advantage for now. EQ to get away. Nice.
Pretty funny. Potluck wanted Smite for HP, but all he did was drop it down for Shrimp to get the kill with it. Thanks for the leash.
Yep. Thanks for the leash, bro. See ya. Meanwhile, mid lane, Malzahar versus Rise. It's going to be a contest of pushing. We've got the Malefic Visions together with the Space Crabs, while Rise will just try to chain the whole wave down, utilizing the power of those overloads.
Yeah, Rise generally seen as a decent pick in the Malzahar. Can deal with the push that the Voidlands bring on early on. You do tend to clear those out pretty easily with an EQ, getting the bounces onto them. So it can negate some of what Rise wants to do, or excuse me, Malzahar wants to do. But Rise being immobile has to be scared later on into the game as the ultimate comes online.
Just want to point out, too, that the cleanse was just swapped out for TP for Malzahar because when he went back to base, he wanted to make sure he got right back to lane. So he's now much more vulnerable to ganks. One of those big enchanted rune prisons could lock him down long enough for his Zac gank to be really deadly here. So he's got to be on the lookout for that one.
Absolutely. We talked a lot about how Bobchin could do some nasty things to Wolf with Potluck, but it can easily go the other way as well. Both these mid laners having a ton of gank set up.
Bottom side, Alistar and Varus. Again, just constantly hanging back. It's been Kalista and Tom's lane kind of since it started. That's kind of the nature of giving up a summoner spell for this fight, but they're doing just fine. I mean, they're down 3 CS. They've also got more CS currently alive for themselves to farm up. So nothing to really worry about. The wave is pushing the other way now as some of those caster minions have survived longer, but really even contest bottom side. Mid lane's very even as well. Top lane starting to develop a decent lead for the Urgot. Honestly, Mark, that's pretty unusual to see Kennen go into a lane and just fall behind in CS.
Right, and I don't know how much of that is how the matchup is supposed to go and how much is unfamiliarity. Does Jenkins know exactly how he's supposed to play this matchup either? We talked about how most likely the Urgot has the push advantage, and it can make it very annoying for Kennen early on if he's not able to use his E to mark a lot of the camp or the minions with that passive. It's kind of hard to get your W onto multiple targets and push it easily. So this could be the kind of case where Kennen has a harder time playing in the creep wave and harassing the enemy top laner just because of the push that the Urgot can work in with his auto attacks.
And I'd also like to point out, remember that Urgot got buffs a few patches back now that made it so his shotgun knees have a ridiculously low cooldown by the time he gets around 11, 12, 13. They go down to like 2 seconds. So eventually he just becomes a shotgun machine gun walking around in circles. And by the time he circles you, the leg is ready to shoot again. So I do want to see him hit that point in the game where we can get to see those kinds of crazy damage outputs as long as he's able to maneuver himself correctly. But as the game goes on, he's going to have to navigate through a slicing maelstrom, through a cataclysm, through a Malzahar ulti, through Tahm Kench. It could be very difficult. Kennen, now with that ultimate online, he doesn't have teleport. Remember, he would have to go back to base and swap out the ignite for a TP before he could make a play with that. But whenever Kennen has the opportunity to make some kind of a play elsewhere with the ult, I'm always cautious. I'm always looking for that.
Right, that's absolutely something to keep in mind too. As much as we're talking about Kennen being this lane-dominant top laner, you can also become pretty useful in team fights later as you become this kind of TP flank threat with your stopwatch and your ult. Allows you to become a diver a little bit earlier now. The new rune system giving you that Zhonya's one-time use earlier on, whereas before, kind of had to wait till you actually bought that item to become this like, I don't care what you do to me, I'm going to go invulnerable with a giant lightning storm around me.
Yeah. It's really huge, the fact that you do get one of those early on in the game. I mean, what if that determines the outcome of a big fight at the Drake or something along those lines? Shrimp trying to pass off that blue buff, does so just fine. The only person hanging around would have been Xpecial, and I don't think Tahm Kench is going to out-damage the Rise there. Xpecial just work his way back. Meanwhile, it's Bobchin who's now going to be handed off his own blue, and with Rise and Malzahar both having unlimited mana, the waves are just going to melt.
You expect some big action in mid lane.
Oh yeah, big action against the creeps.
Yeah, those creeps are going to have a rough time.
Yeah, they're not going to have fun.
Shrimp's getting close to 6, Pollock getting close to 6. Neither has really gone for any ganks after that initial jungle skirmish, so I'm a little sad to not see a more aggressive play out of either of them thus far. Jarvan's one of those champions, so I feel like if you haven't done anything with your first 6 levels, I don't like seeing that necessarily. Right. I understand that, you know, he actually farms relatively fine and can get level 6 and then make plays, but he also has the best level 2 ganks in the game. And so I don't love seeing that level 1 through 3 potential not used.
Right. We talk about the Jarvan Cataclysm. We talk about how it's big, but at the same time, this isn't one of those like sleep on it till 6 type of champs.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel good to be there. I look at it sort of like I look at a like a Lee Sin, right? Everybody loves the Lee Sin kick. I mean, it's one of the most iconic moves in the game, but at the same time, if you hit level 6 on Lee Sin and you're 0, 0, and 0, people are like,
Yeah, and sometimes it is the right thing to be like, all right, I'm going to go for the mix-up. They think I'm going to play really aggressive. I'm going to power farm. And that can sometimes make people feel really cautious, but, you know, you kind of need to have that reputation already. Rush was a guy way back in 2015 who was so aggressive with his Lee Sin. Sometimes he just power farmed till 6, and everyone was like, where's Rush going to come from?
and then do it.
Yeah,
drop twice as many wards. He's going to be somewhere.
Yeah, and he's just farming, saying, you know what, that's fine. Pollock probably doesn't quite have the Rush reputation just yet, so knowing that the top lane was, if he knew the top lane was going to push in the Urgot's favor, would have been nice to see him get up there and try and sway that matchup a little bit or something.
All right, 9 minutes in, Mark. Still no blood. Still slight farm lead in the top lane and in the mid lane for the side of FlyQuest. Bottom side, a 1-wave lead for the Golden Guardians. Jungle really, really close. Honestly, too close to really call much of anything on that one. Cinderhulk's being worked on by both junglers, and you're seeing so much of that these days, honestly. I mean, I think the only jungler we've seen not go Cinderhulk is Kha'Zix, because Cinderhulk Kha'Zix would be kind of a meme.
Yeah.
But everybody else, I mean, you do have options on some of these champions, right? Like, if you look at a Jax, you could go for a Devour. If you look at Jarvan, sometimes you've seen him go Warrior and solo queue. But when the option is Cinderhulk or X, it's always Cinderhulk. Because now the play in the mid lane looking to be made. There comes your Harpoon. Stopwatch used to try to prevent it, but the damage comes in. Go into the grinder. First blood over to FlyQuest.
That's an interaction right there. One suppression getting canceled out by the other suppression.
Tug of war.
Yeah, the Malzahar ult, insta-cast, like you were saying, kind of gets him right away, but I guess there's a small channel duration on the reactivation of the Urgot ultimate after it lands, so You see him land that torpedo, gets the Comet. Damage doesn't actually land as that, but there you see. Very interesting to see that interaction. If you don't know, the way League of Legends works is whatever goes second generally has priority. And so while, yes, you cast the Urgot ultimate activation first, it doesn't go off till second. So then it trumps the suppression that came in from Malzahar. It works the same with all displacement abilities. That's why the Tristana buffer rocket jump.
Tristana's the most famous example of this because hers is more egregious than a lot of other ones in terms of the way it looks.
Yeah, you see Alistar land a headbutt pulve combo and a Tristana jump out of it. You're like, wait a minute.
The other one I love is Ezreal's E with Blitzcrank pulling him, because a good Ezreal literally can't be pulled by Blitzcrank if he has his E up. It just stretches the hand and he walks away anyway.
And a similar thing happens with like Nautilus and Blitzcrank, where what Nautilus can do, it's a very like good visual way to understand mechanically what just happened with that same interaction, where Nautilus throws his hook out at a wall, Blitzcrank's hook hits Nautilus and starts pulling him, but then Nautilus hooks hits the wall and pulls him away from Blitzcrank. So that's a more visual understanding of the same interaction. But here we go, top lane action.
Speaking of interactions, this is a 3 versus 1 interaction in the top side, looking to make the kill onto Jenkins, who pops the stopwatch, but it will not be enough. Shrimp tanking the turret hits, nearly goes down, but it's only Jenkins to fall dead.
A little bit too much beef in that dive attempt. It's nice that Urgot could tank for a little while, and then the full tank, Zach, can be a little bit in there as well. So it allows them to stay under that turret long enough to wait out the stopwatch, but it's coming at a cost as Golden Guardians Academy are 4-man pushing in the mid lane. Already grabbed one turret. People are going to teleport back in.
I really like this answer from Golden Guardians, Mark, to say, look, you put 3 guys top, you killed our top laner, but we got turret first, gold mid. That's a fantastic response.
Yeah, overall, still does come out in FlyQuest Academy's favor. 1,000 gold advantage after that dive, getting that first blood, but Golden Guardians, make sure to answer back. Don't let it go unpunished.
Proto Belt's up and running on your Kennen. Urgot almost with the Black Cleaver ready to go for himself. Wits in the first choice for Varus this time around, and I want to kind of harken back to what you were talking about earlier in the day with Varus having different options for his build. Sometimes they go on hit, sometimes you actually see like a traditional crit style build. There's a few different things, but it is going to be the on hit approach this time around.
Yeah, surprising to see the Wits End first. Usually you expect to see the Ginsus right away, and without seeing the exact gold values on the back timings, maybe it just made more sense for Aerie to go that right away. There is a fair amount of physical damage on the side of the Golden Guardians, which makes me think that the magic resist portion of it isn't super relevant, nor the shred. I mean, it does work well, obviously, with Aerie himself and Peckenwolf, but either way, Wits End first is fine.
Well, FlyQuest deciding they want to go ahead, go for Ocean Drake #1 this game. 13 minutes in, not your average time to start up an Elemental Drake that's not an Infernal. Get it for themselves, that'll be a bit of extra sustain.
Especially off the back of a lot of fighting. Both teams kind of resetting, and given that they're ahead a little bit in the tempo of the game, they can grab that one first.
The more you dip in and out of fights, the better the Ocean Drake is, right? Because like you mentioned when you were talking about the Drakes earlier, it's all about whenever you're not fighting, it's keeping you topped off. It's getting you in shape for the next fight. So if the whole game is nothing but these little contests back and forth, just boom, boom, boom with small spurts of time in between them, Ocean Drake's going to have a nice payoff.
Yeah, absolutely. Cloud, Ocean, and Infernal have the highest efficiency stats, so to speak, but not the biggest impact when...
All right, Jenkins, can you get away from this one? No. They're not even going to waste the... Oh, wait, they did use the Urgot ultimate. It didn't look like it originally, but yeah, it didn't even... It is funny to watch that thing whiff because it has such a fast travel time now, and it's a huge missile. Just seeing it cruise off into the horizon is pretty great.
And Golden Guardians want to punish on the other side of the map, but hold on.
This could actually go south pretty quickly. It's Bobchin who ends up getting punished on this one. Now can FlyQuest find even more. Looking to come in. They do find their way onto that 80 carry. Tom Kench trying to keep him alive, but instead they're both going to be taken right back. Xpecial trying to get away from this. Jurassic seeking to kite backwards, tries to save the Kench, but the elastic slingshot will find its way onto him. Xpecial still barely hobbling away from this one.
Oh, Golden Guardians didn't know exactly when to cut their losses there.
No, that was troubling.
Yeah, they dove into the turret. Bobchin got kind of chain CC'd, was a little bit ahead of the rest of his team, so he goes down under a turret pretty quickly. And then Jurassic and Xpecial were on 2 different pages. Jurassic, who is out, cuts back to get in range of Xpecial to use the Fate's Call to save him, but kills himself and loses more summoners in the process. So hard to say that was worth it. And also off the back of that play, FlyQuest are going to grab their second turret of the game in the bottom.
Yeah, FlyQuest grab another turret. Let's take another look at what happened topside, though.
Yeah, so you're going to see this missile go wide to the right, but it doesn't matter. Peckenwolf's already cut him off on the side. No stopwatch available this time, so the damage can keep coming in. And there you talk about the ring around the Rosie. Urgot getting those knee shotguns off and to speed things up. You see the wraparound coming in on the side, but Bob Chin's way ahead of the rest of his team. JJ puts him under the turret, tries to suppress. Potluck can't get in range. At this point, it's too late. Jurassic realizes that they're in a lot of trouble. Starts trying to just get out of there. Gets spat back. Everyone kind of lets him go, flashes away, and then decides, you know what, I gotta save him. I gotta go back.
Bring him to safety. No man left behind.
Yep, could have popped the heal and just kept running through the turret, most likely. Does save Xpecial, but costs his own life.
Meanwhile, bottom, Golden Guardians deciding to even up that turret count once again. And as you can see on the bottom part of your screen right now, EU rebroadcast coming up next after we end this final game of the North American Academy League. Stay tuned for the EU LCS rebroadcast immediately afterwards on this very same channel, twitch.tv/FLYA Games. So if you missed some of the games from our buddies across the pond earlier today, you can still catch those now a little bit later on. But for now, we've still got one more game to play out here as Node tries to say no to this three-man push, but I don't know how well that's going to work out. Tries to put the Jarvan back behind him. Instead, going to be spit out, brought down. Xpecial grabbing the kill credit.
Getting a little bit overconfident there, but there's a dive going on the other side of the map as well.
All right, you take our guy, we're going to take your guy. That's what they're saying, but they won't quite find the kill. Instead, they'll just take the turret. But the Golden Guardians have the same idea. 4 men strong here in the bottom lane. Demolish ticking down. They'll take that one for themselves, and we've practically got ourselves a split push, baby.
We got a base race going on.
Let's see how it does.
FlyQuest Academy is way ahead of the play because they were on this turret already, and they had the Rift Turtle down there helping them out. They're going to keep going and take the inhib, but it seems like Golden Guardians are going to be able to get their own as well, most likely.
Yeah, Shelly versus no Shelly is not much of a contest in terms of who's going to get that faster. The inhibitor still standing, just now drops. Inhibitor likely going to fall down here for FlyQuest as well, but they do manage to mount their attack in time to maybe find something. No, going to be the one who's jumped on as Jurassic tries to finish him off. Going to be taken very, very low. Does pop the ulti. Jurassic needs to lose a little bit more HP. There you go. Back into the grinder. As now can they find Xpecial? That's the question. The Rune Prison, they get the kill and then they get warped away. I think the pings are going to be on mid lane.
That was a bit of a misfight there on the side of Golden Guardians. Jurassic and Xpecial had gotten a fair amount of Ren stacks and licks.
That's a too big resource for you to need these 2v2s.
I can't remember.
Mark, you need Ren stacks and
Tom
you need
Kench
links.
passive stack there. 3 stacks onto No on the Urgot. Jurassic picks up Xpecial to throw him, I believe, at the Urgot, but Xpecial actually picks to go at Peckenwolf, so it splits the fight up, and it leads to a situation where they can't win either part of that skirmish, so they just go down, both dying. Bit of miscommunication there on that. And FlyQuest are able to pick up some kills on the back end of both teams grabbing their inhibitors.
You know, I think the Tom Kench passive is called an acquired taste, but I honestly like just calling it licks instead. It's easier to say, it's more natural.
It's more awkward.
It's more awkward. It just works all around, Mark. It's what we need in our life.
Well, you can't say acquired taste. I guess you can say
yeah, he
taste.
acquired 3 tastes.
One,
say that.
2.
1 taste. 2. Yeah, you have to do the counting.
There's
thing,
an
like,
owl that shows up out of nowhere to do it. Yeah.
Yeah, how many licks to the center of an acquired taste? That's the question for Tom Kench. But now, the flash into the suppress, exactly what Malzahar is known for. It's going to be trouble for Airy. He's still keeping himself alive for now, but how much longer can he? Not for long, as Jenkins goes in with a massive slicing maelstrom onto multiple people. He will go down to Peckenwolf, but it's Shrimp who's barely staying alive still. He has the passive. He's not afraid to use it. No, on the front lines again, pumping out those machine gun shots, trying to grab the kill here onto Xpecial. Peckenwolf going even further, looking to grab the kill onto the back line, gets himself one. Potluck gets the combo, still trying to get away from this when Xpecial sidestepping, jukes a couple of them, but the damage is still just too much. What looked like may have been a good fight for the Guardians turns the way of FlyQuest.
Baron's coming up in just a couple seconds, and with Airy respawning, looks like they want to rush it down right away. Yeah.
I mean, you've got Urgot there, you've got Rise there. They both do a lot of damage.
Urgot's not too bad. But once his knees run out.
But hey, remember what I said, Mark? We're at level 12, though. This is time for knees.
Yeah, you're right. He's getting a lot of shots off. Looks like they're going to be able to grab this Baron. Jarvan is coming around, but it's getting low. Will go over to FlyQuest Academy uncontested.
Yup. Good call from them, making sure that they can secure that objective. 10-2 in kills, 5-4 in turrets. Let's take another look at the fight.
It's a bit of an overforce onto Airy. It just doesn't quite all line up at the same time. They get a lot of damage down onto him. He's locked in there with Voidlings and Malefic Visions on him, but he's not dying fast enough. By the time the Kennen finishes the teleport in, they do get the kill, but it's given enough time for FlyQuest to kind of regroup and start putting out their own damage. You see No coming up on the backside. Does miss the ultimate again, I believe, there. Unfortunate. But he's, like you said, level 12, has a lot of those knee shotguns to go off, so they're able to get down special. And Peckenwolf, completely healthy after that fight, is able to go collapse on this two-man by himself. Gets joined up by JJ, and they are not able to actually finish off the Jarvan as a special. Some cute footsies, but can't get away.
Yeah, and ultimately the time that he bought there doesn't do them a whole lot, considering they had to wait 5 seconds for Baron anyway. So Special prolonging the inevitable and the inconsequential at the same time. Infernal Drake going the way of FlyQuest Academy. That's 2 for 2 in Drakes for this team. That's now 6,000 gold in the lead. Let's see what they do with the Baron. Let's see how well they manage to utilize this objective. They utilized the Rift Herald really good to get the inhibitor earlier. Let's see if they can keep the streak going.
I expect that they can. I mean, we talked about how tanky their team comp was when we were looking at that dive early on in the game. Now with a gold lead and Baron buff, I would expect the dives to kind of keep coming. Peckenwolf can transport people onto the back line. Zach has no trouble getting involved. JJ, with the unsealed spellbook, Alistar has his Ghost back available, so he can get in fights pretty easily. Push that mid wave. Looks like they want to go meet up with Peckenwolf and push them in this bot wave.
And that Urgot's scarier than ever now, too. 4-1-2 on the scoreline. Has the Frozen Mallet gun, so as he kites around these people and locks them down with that machine gun, they're going to be even more immobilized than they otherwise would be. Makes it very easy to proc that passive, get those shotguns blazing. As FlyQuest Academy takes down another Tier 2. They've got one left standing to get rid of, and then all that's left is pushing into the base. Shrimp goes for one of those Qs, can't quite find it. Inhibitor respawns on the top side of the Golden Guardians base and the bottom side of the FlyQuest Academy base, but it's the Golden Guardians who are still under pressure.
No, does not have teleport up, so he's just going to go to mid lane, see if he goes up to the exposed inhib in the top side, or if he just wants to stay closer to his team while that summoner is on cooldown. Or maybe the whole team's going to rotate up there. I would like to see them break another one of these inhibitor turrets with what they have left of their Baron, but deciding to go for the naked inhib first.
Yeah, you got 60 seconds left on Baron buff. You want to get as much utilization out of this as possible. Poke the inhib for, what, 25% and then have to back away? Need to be decisive here. Peckenwolf still bottom. Knows he can get towards the fight with the ulti, but here comes your initiation. It's going to be Jarvan only trapping himself in the pit. Urgot ulti connects this time, going to be onto the mid laner. Shrimp grabbing the kill onto Jarvan, as now your counterattack comes in from Jenkins, but it's going to be too little, too late. FlyQuest Academy still looking to make more happen. You've got your Kalista pulled to safety through the ulti. They juggle around the enemy support. They take him down. JJ, the only casualty of a fight that claims 3 lives of the Golden Guardians, and this might just be the game, Mark.
Yeah, might be over off that push. We said we wanted them to be aggressive, and they did not hesitate pulling the trigger there.
We wanted aggressive, we wanted decisive, we wanted a clean game, and it looks like FlyQuest Academy is here to oblige. They'll find the ace, they'll find the first Nexus turret, the second one, they don't even have to look for it. It's already there, as now the Nexus itself will be the target. You can see these guys finishing the game off just as we crest the 24-minute mark into this match. Fantastically done.
Not wanting to get outdone by the other 2 games that preceded them. FlyQuest Academy comes in, takes a little bit to get going, but once they start rolling, absolutely smash that game off the back of an Urgot pick, all things considered. Pretty surprising.
And I said at the start of this game, Mark, I said, when you pick something like Urgot, show me why. Show me why in this game, in this composition, in this situation, Urgot was the move. They did it.
Yeah, they did. They showed that they could dive really effectively with it. Rise was doing a good job coordinating with the top side of the map, and once that was going, it felt like the other team felt like they needed to dive the bot lane, but they were not particularly coordinated, so Golden Guardians were falling behind on these trades every single time. They get into that base race situation. That's not getting traded well, and so it ends up where, over time, these advantages completely accrue for FlyQuest.
Yeah, talking about I think the base race is one of the best kind of descriptors of this whole game, because it was just, all right, we have similar plans. FlyQuest is just doing it better. And that led to these situations like 19.5 minutes into the game, a 3-1 play mid to secure Baron for FlyQuest that ended up catapulting them towards being able to lock this game down at 24.
It just takes too long to assassinate Aerie here. You see him living through the Jarvan ultimate, living through the Malzahar ultimate. Finally, Kennen gets in there. He's the one who's able to get the kill, but at this point, that's so many abilities down just to kill one target. There's plenty of damage still on the side of FlyQuest Academy. Urgot's still alive, full health Ryze, who's pretty fed, still alive, and they're going to be able to deal damage to the rest of the front line of Golden Guardians. And then, hey, Ryze is pretty good for chasing people down with that ultimate.
Turns out having an ulti that can jump you a couple thousand units away, pretty good for cutting people off. When the rest of the team's there to support, it just makes it that much easier. And FlyQuest Academy, was this the fastest game of the day?
I would not 100% sure. The Cloud9 game was pretty close, but it might be, and it's pretty surprising, like we say, considering that it felt so much slower at the start compared to the other games.
Which just shows that it had that much more mid-game acceleration compared to the others, but these last 3 games of the day have all just been lightning quick. Once a team got the advantage, boom, they ran away with it, and that's what I want to see out of Academy teams, that decisiveness.
Right, and I think that's really important to point out, because it wasn't like the team that was losing then went and did some boneheaded plays. Like, you can understand why, hey, an immobile 80 carry Varus in the mid lane is there. Let's try and pick him off quickly, but it was just a great reaction on the side of FlyQuest. You punish that engage attempt.
It was a great reaction. Honestly, it was just a great game overall from FlyQuest Academy, and it's going to complete today's Academy games. So let's see how the teams landed here after Week 2. With their win tonight, Cloud9 Academy takes sole possession of first place, with Fox, Liquid, and FlyQuest being tied at 3-1, and Clutch sitting alone at 2-2. The rest of the teams are tied at the bottom of the standings, but no more winless teams after Week 2. Both TSM and CLG Academy, the only 2 left with no wins coming into today, managed to grab their wins and get themselves on the board.
Really impressive. Good to see that out of them. And you heard even Golden Glue talking about how he thought TSM Academy was going to be nasty. They're down at 1-3, but you can expect a big bounce back probably over the course of the season.
I mean, we're 2 weeks in, right?
Yeah.
Each team has played 4 games. You've got 9 other teams that you have to play against in the league, so you haven't even played against half of them yet. There's still a lot to learn, and there's still a lot more League of Legends coming up this weekend. The NALCS returns tomorrow afternoon, starting off with Clutch Gaming versus CLG. Then Power of Evil continues his saga against Bjergsen in Game 2, and undefeated teams Cloud9, Echo Fox, and Team Liquid will all battle to keep their spot later on in the day. That's going to be exciting.
My favorite thing about those matchups is that the 4 2-0 teams are going to be playing against each other for the right to keep their undefeated spots. So no matter what, we're walking away with a 2-1 team and 2 3-0 teams. And you're going to get see some really differentiation in those standings very quickly.
Cutting that down by half is a lot of fun to see, because you don't want everybody walking away saying, oh yeah, we got a 3-way tie for first. No, get rid of that.
Yeah, get rid of that.
You got to have best teams. They go head to head. Only one of them stays the best at the end. But if you want more league right now, have no fear. Coming right up is a rebroadcast of this morning's EULCS matches ahead of their live Day 2 broadcast starting at 8 a.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Central European Time. If you missed the games earlier today, be sure to stick around for that. Now for myself, Mark, the entire Academy crew, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week. There comes your harpoon. Stopwatch used to try to prevent it, but the damage comes in. Go into the grinder. Looking to make the kill onto Jenkins, who pops the stopwatch, but it will not be enough. Shrimp tanking the turret hits. Jurassic seeking to kite backwards, tries to save the Kench, but the elastic slingshot will find its way onto him. Jurassic needs to lose a little bit more HP. There you go, back into the grinder.
They did not hesitate pulling the trigger there.
We wanted aggressive, we wanted decisive, we wanted a clean game, and it looks like FlyQuest Academy is here to oblige.